Hi everybody, Zach here for another episode of our flagship program, The Spideydude Experience. This episode is brought to you by our loyal patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Pledge today and get both early access to content on the main channel, as well as entirely exclusive content, like brand new shows and commentaries for old Spidey stuff, including commentaries for the MTV series, for example, as well as the video editions for Voices from the Eyrie Gargoyles Podcast. And our Patreon first show focused on the Krakoan era of X-Men. We also want to encourage you to check out our other programs that are all available on Audio Edition. These are all over on Spideydude.com, and they're available on your favorite podcasting app. Shows like Clone Saga Chronicles, the show that started this entire network, Spectacular Radio, Spectacular Sal Buscema era podcast, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, the Slot Symposium, and the sister program on this channel, Make Mine Mayday. As always, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help us big time in the algorithm. And additionally, if you have topics you'd like to cover on a live show or in a recorded medium, make sure to leave a comment down below the description or shoot us an email at SpideydudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Finally, make sure to join our community. Be alerted to all new updates by hitting that subscribe button and clicking on the bell. But to be clear, your viewership is more than enough for us. And if you want to hang out with us off YouTube, you can always go to our Discord, where we have all sorts of fun stuff, or you can join us on our social medias and follow us there. All the links are down in the description below. As always, we want to be making some references to visual aids and or live comments. If you're an audio listener, pay that no mind, but leave that 5-star review for us. Any and all feedback we will read on future episodes. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get rolling with this episode of the Spideydude Experience. It actually played all the way through. Oh my God. Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster and host of the program. Tonight, I got three of my compadres to join us for the spectacular Spideydude Experience, the third edition. So, welcome Neil, welcome Ashley, welcome Adam, everybody watching us live on YouTube, as well as everybody watching the show. Man, oh, hi Father's Thoughts. Go back to the crawl space. Their panels always suck.
Well, I can't fix that. So
yeah. So welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you guys for watching us. Tonight we're going to be covering hi Evan Star, the third issue of the Spectacular Spider-Men. So that's the cover of the main cover for the book. I got the alternate covers here in a little bit, but yeah, so I did want to ask the panel tonight, did we watch the Venom trailer?
Yes.
No.
Ashley, did you watch it?
No.
Oh, well.
And I love Venom, but no.
Oh. So I watched it. The trailer is bonkers. This thing looks bonkers. I don't know if you've seen the spoilers, but first of all, I love your shirt. Ashley, I just now noticed it because my ADD just kicked in. And for audio listeners, you'll have to go YouTube. But yeah, they finally released the trailer to The Last Dance, which is the last time we'll see Venom. I'm putting air quotes between my head because I firmly believe they'll just reboot him. So it'll be this will make a bunch of money. It's coming out in October. I think the 4th of October. Later on this year. So, yeah.
25th, I think.
Oh, 25th. Excuse me. Thank you. They also released a poster, too, to coincide with the Venom trailer. So if you guys have thoughts in the comment section down below.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. He hated the trailer, apparently. Vinkman reacted to the fact that the video played through all the way for...
That's an anomaly. Like, I don't know what we did, what kind of voodoo witchcraft we pulled off to make that happen, but do we got to sacrifice next time?
It's because it's getting warmer. Sun's out.
Sun's out, guns out, baby.
They aren't around.
The tubes are getting warm. They're de-thawing.
You know, there are so many kids that have no idea what that's in reference to there, Adam. But I understood that reference. For the record,
don't play the clip.
I wasn't going to.
Okay, good.
So yeah,
I got a weird thing to say. Did anyone else think the CGI in that trailer looked actually really good compared to the last two movies?
From what I've seen, I thought the CG was good. Obviously, it's not going to take itself seriously. If you've watched the previous two movies, which I still have not, but
What?
I have not. Well, I've watched the first one. I've not watched the
You
second.
watched the first.
Get
yeah,
out.
That's right. Yeah.
I had okay. I had stuff going on when it was in theaters, and then I haven't been able to find it on streaming. So I've been waiting for it to be hit streaming like Netflix, and it still hasn't hit, which is bizarre to me.
I think I don't know. Let There Be Carnage was on something recently.
It was on Stars, I thought, and I don't want to.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't want to pay for a Star subscription, but once it does hit streaming, then on Patreon we're going to do a commentary. So, heads up, everybody. Yeah. So, like I say, I will go see this in the theater. We'll do a review of it when it comes out, and so we'll either mock it or sing its praises. Hopefully, it'll go better than Madam Web. Of course, that's extremely low bar. Well, sorry, Father's Thoughts. Probably not going to happen. Okay. Neil, do you want to give the rundown on the issue?
Yeah. Okay. So let's just get right into it. Spec Spider-Man #3, written by friend of the show Greg Weisman. Line art by I don't want to call him friend of the show. A friend adjacent to the show, Humberto Ramos. We don't know him at all of the show. Victor Olazaba and what is it? Edgar Delgado, who is also not a friend of the show. But we would like them all to be friends of the show.
Oh my God. Okay. All right, Neil.
All right. So the issue begins with Peter and Miles both supposedly talking to each other as they're facing a door with surprisingly the same color on their walls. Which that's not how walls work. They all have different colors. I know this because I'm a paint tosser at Sherwin-Williams. So Peter is married to St. Gwendolyn the First, with a still alive Captain George Stacy asking out his aunt. I don't want to get into the implications of that because that feels like a legal battle and a half. Sweet home Alabama.
Where the skies are. Okay.
Meanwhile, on his side of the wood, in his neck of the woods, Miles is about to go on a date with Kamala Khan, who looks like an alien. Thank you, Ramos.
Oh, boy.
As the title pages roll, they cut back. Okay, so the pacing in this book is god awful. So I'm gonna kind of knock out the plot points as they come. In the present, Carly Cooper, Jane Foster, and Shari Sebbins, who I wasn't here to discuss last time, but Shari Sebbins is a relatively new deep cut. She is the police contact that Peter had during Tom Taylor's From the Neighborhood run.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and she was also, and she was also in Hallows Eve.
Yes.
As a foil for Janine. So she's getting around a lot. Good for her. And they're talking about how they have no idea if the corpse they have is a clone or the real deal. Basically, they're at square one. Peter and Gwen have 2 kids. They look terrifying. Meanwhile, Miles and Kamala are out on a date in a place where I don't think either of them can afford the bill. Holy shit, that looks way too nice for 2 teenagers to be out on a date on. And I guess it cuts to a bunch of the people we've been following. I didn't know this at first, but the first guy who is in this issue rolling in a bunch of money, that's Turk, who I think is a Daredevil villain. Yeah, if anyone can correct me.
We talked about this also last time.
Felt smart. I guess not.
Well, we figured it out too last because we were like, who is this guy in the first issue? But then it was like, oh yeah, it's in issue 2 because he punches out Daredevil, and it's like, oh, it's Turk from Daredevil.
But like, there's things wrong here. But like all the weirdly, it's like Madam Web, where like they get they get Julia Carpenter's maiden name right, and it's like, did someone actually do research for this movie? But anyways, along with all the people who we've been following, Peter and Miles' dreams are all coming true. Peter's married with kids, and Spider-Man's no longer in the picture. And Miles is Spider-Man and teaming up with Miss Marvel. Do we want to talk? I guess we can kind of wrap Kenny, Shelley, and Cedric into those as well. Peter and Miles were doing their Wednesday meetup, and they realized that Cedric was still missing. And with Kenny and Shelley also missing, they're like, okay, we need to check this out. So they go down into the sewers. Shift and the Vermin clan, who Moon Knight hasn't beat the crap out of, I guess, has led them into a RPG wall that they break down with their webs. And the Arcadium self-defense system activates, electrocutes them, and they get put into the simulation by the very thinly veiled reveal of Arcade and Mentallo, who was an X-Men villain. I wanted to point this out because I'm the X-Men guy now, I guess. But yes. Mentallo is wearing his uniform from Al Ewing's Sword series, and I thought he got arrested when Abigail Brand was ousted by Cable, but I guess he still clung on to the costume because, hey, who wastes a good costume? And I kind of glossed over this. I jumped over it to get to the point. But Miles and Peter are both kind of getting awakened by the vermin scratching on the windows and saying, "Hey, man, wake up!"
My personal favorite was the vermins, but also the stepping on Legos. As a father, I related to that.
It's a Spider-Man Lego
Spider-Man
too.
Lego.
It's symbolic that Spider-Man's a pain in his foot. I was gonna say ass, but it cuts away before he can say it.
Good job, Neil.
Oh, and Miles kisses Kamala, even though they're better off as friends. Don't fight me.
Does not ship it.
I'm just saying. All right. Recap over.
All right. So, lady and gentlemen, what is your grade? We'll start with Adam. What's your grade on this?
I think I'll give it a B.
Adam's grade is a B. Ashley, what is your grade?
It's a C. Just solid C. Same as last time. Ugh.
And Bogenrieder, what is your grade, kind sir?
Well, I'm gonna side with Ash on this one. I'm giving it a C as well.
Okay.
Yay! Neil's grade is a C. I'm going to give it a B plus. I'm going to be the contrarian here. I know. And look, my bias is going to show. I don't care. I will freely admit that.
Bishansky was going to be on the show, and I think he was going to give it a similar grade.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about him, and I have kind of talked about this. This is not the first time that Greg has experimented with this type of structure.
Okay, is this Weisman we're talking about, or Bishansky?
Weisman, excuse me.
This is the curse and blessing of knowing two Gregs.
I know. And well, try being on a show with them at the same fucking time.
Oh, he dropped his first F-bomb before I did.
Scandalous. Drop in the swear jar. Drop in the swear jar.
Jar, baby, jar. All right.
I don't know if you heard the 90s show.
Where's Walter?
So do not tempt him, I swear to God.
I won't. Yeah. He's just going to show up when we least expect it. That's his MO. We'll start with Neil, and then we'll just, jump back and forth. Like, Ashley and Neil, you guys gave it the lowest grade. Why did you give it that lowest grade?
Would you like to go first, or you want me to go first, Neil?
I'll sum mine up quick so you can do it. Mine comes down to 2 words: art and pacing. That's 3 words, but I'm not counting the "and" because that's an additive and not one of the actual words. I actually think Weisman has a pretty good. I know that we've kind of harped on Peter being treated as sort of the resident goober of the Marvel universe, but I get the sense that, like, you know, with how Weisman's been dropping those voice reels on Twitter, with, you know, Josh Keaton, and he actually got back Lacey Chabert to do it. So I'm not sure if he had. I'm not sure if he had that plot point in mind, if he had bringing her back in mind when he wrote this plot point. But
I don't know if Greg has anything to do with those. I'm thinking that was Keaton. Now, he may have now, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, this one came out the week of, like, the Monday before the issue, right? I think so. So I think he might have had something to do with this one. But I know the first one was completely a surprise. So...
Right, but anyway, I think that Weisman still kind of has it with, as far as like, oh hey, I can see Keaton Peter doing this or saying these things. Like he's kind of got that delivery and script writing down. But like I said, this book has so many cutaways. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Family Guy. That's the only way I can put it. It's just like I feel like I'm watching. Hey Lois, it's like that. Hey Lois, this is like that time that I helped Turk beat the crap out of Daredevil. Nah.
And I'll in some movies and sex on it. All right. Anyway, I was singing the theme song. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Okay.
I question who has the ADHD here today.
Hi, it's me.
Muted. Okay. Just saying, you drop a T Swifty bomb in my direction, you're getting the mute button. The pacing is all over the place. Like it cuts from one page, you're in one scene, one page, you're in the next scene, one page, another scene, another scene, another scene, another scene.
Yep.
It's just so unfocused, and I think that it's to the book's detriment that I think this should have been the second arc of the book when we got a little bit more used to how Weisman structures his plot lines. Right. Just for a first arc experience, this book is very not necessarily not new reader friendly, but it's just not reader. It's just not reader friendly.
It's not.
Forget new reader friendly. I'm having trouble reading, and I'm not a new reader.
Yeah, especially like if you go and pick this up, because I'm going to actually like talk about that for a second, because if I went to the store and your objective is to sell as many comics as, you know, like as you can, because like that's what you want. You want your comic to be popular. You want, you know, your series to be popular. But as a new like person into comics, and I'm not, but going to the store and picking this up and reading it, I think I would be turned off, honestly, moving forward, to want to continue to read more, because it's so confusing. There's so much jumping around. You have like 3 to 4 different stories that feels like sometimes on one page that are running, and then you hop to another one. I think, what are there, like 5 or 6 different storylines that are running through this right now? I can't remember who half these characters are and what is even going on with them, because it is so all over the place. And like, I like that the villains were shown. Yes. I like, you know, the art is, you know, great. There's a few areas that are a little bit muddy to me. Like I don't care for like the characters' faces, how they look, the expressions, certain things like that. But overall, I would not continue to want to read a book if I don't understand it and there's all these characters thrown in and you have no idea who they are. So
to balance off that, actually, like I think this book has all the ingredients for like great sauce. It's got for one thing, it's got a supporting cast, which is, I guess, a novelty for comic books these days. It's just a supporting cast that's just regular people.
Especially since the main book barely features the supporting cast like every other arc or something.
Yeah, even discounting the fact that there's an ex-Thor / current Valkyrie in the book, they don't treat her as Valkyrie. They just, oh hey, it's Jane Foster, character from the Thor books. She's here for some reason.
I do wonder why. Yeah, I do wonder why he chose her. But
I think it's one of those things like he just wanted a deep cut, or not necessarily a deep cut, just like, oh hey, look, it's part of an interconnected universe. Here's a character from another series.
Yeah, I guess. So.
The kids
But I
are
mean, if you
terrifying.
don't know though, like it's gonna be hard to read, you know, like if you don't know who these certain characters are and you know, like anything to do with them as a first time like reader, it's a little bit difficult.
Well, Ryan, you say the supporting casts are reserved for DC. I think DC has it even worse because now they have entire families of characters with the same powers.
Yeah.
The Spider family are more like begrudging coworkers, even if they're not in the same. Like the Superman family, the Batman family, the Green Arrow family. Jesus Christ, are we that self-cannibalizing? There's like 50 Wonder Womans. Not that I mind.
Well, hang on. Now, that's a race of people. You can't just say there's 50 Wonder Women.
I know, but like as
Amazonians.
an archetype, there's a bunch of characters who share Wonder Woman's powers. But my point broadly is that Marvel, DC, and Image all have the same problem of like we have self-cannibalized these like 30, 40 years of characters and are just making more IPs so we can churn them out for an MCU adaptation. I think using Mentallo is a good use of a villain. Like I said, I haven't seen him since Sword and X-Men Red ended. So good use of those characters, I guess. I'll never get over Arcade like murdering like 50 children in Avengers. Was it Avengers Arena?
Arena, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw Arcade obviously during the Spencer run here on the show. We talked about that during the Hunted. So kind of a narrative spiritual successor to that particular plot point. For Adam, you had the second highest grade. To be positive, what's your thoughts that based off what they're saying?
I basically agree with the pacing. Because like there's too many meanwhiles, and then
3 on 1
now,
page.
Hang on, which page
I
is
feel
it?
like. See, here's the thing. I'm not a professional writer, but if I were, what I maybe would have done was I would have just started off with the dreamscape, the idyllic dream thing. Get everyone like. You can start off the story that way and confuse people, but I wouldn't keep cutting away and going back and forth. Like, yes, do Peter and Miles's dreams essentially, and then probably about when Peter steps on the Lego is when I would cut to, okay, this is what happened a couple days ago when they realized, oh, where's Cedric? And then they start investigating, and then maybe you kind of cut back into the dream thing and the scratching with the vermin. And then you see, oh, okay, they got caught by Arcade and Mentallo, and they're who's behind this, and everyone's, stuck in the VR machine. That's probably how I would have done it. But I'm not a professional writer, so
you've got a good point there, Adam. And I know it's easy for us to like in the aftermath and play armchair comic book editor. Yeah. Well, what I would have done is I would have had Peter step on the Lego and cut to him like burning his hand on the coffee, and cut back to like that period where Peter and Miles find out that Cedric's still missing, and then spend time like take the pages that are spread out across like 3 different cutaways, just make it one big sequence, and then it cuts to Peter back in like his apartment with Gwen.
Yeah.
Which that makes sense to me when you guys are both laying it out on how things should be laid out, because I think that would make more sense. You want to spend a little bit more time with certain characters and not include them in one little panel within the entire like issue. So they have a full purpose, and I feel like some of them still don't have that full purpose, and there's 2 issues left to this. So it is, when is it going to all make sense for me?
And here's
the problem. The problem is just the back and forth, I think.
Yes.
Because it's just it's going, okay, bing, bang, boom, like I said, the meanwhile now, then, meanwhile.
Yes.
It's just like.
It's hard to follow for me, personally.
And when it is like every page, like Neil was saying, it's like, oh, gee, like, it becomes jarring.
This is where I agree with you guys on the pacing issue. I do. I think it is an issue. It's why it doesn't get an A for me. Even Waylon doesn't like it because you can hear him talking.
Like I get what he's doing, but I just feel like it's kind of messy.
It is.
Like having watched Young Justice all 4 seasons, I get the sense that like this is something that works better in a television format than it does.
Probably.
It would.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I was going to bring that up too. The things I did like though, I liked, and I know this is controversial because like to me, I'm pro MJ and Peter, but Gwen and Peter being together,
it's not a hard sell.
It's not a hard sell, and what I want to say by that is if you go back and you read Stan and Steve, like, and John, especially like around issue 100 when he decides that he wants to get rid of his powers,
he was going to propose to her.
He was going to propose to Gwen,
but that basically gets dropped like after he removes the arms.
So in an ideal world where he just happens to go to school and doesn't get the Spider-Man powers, it makes all the sense in the world that he would be with Gwen.
I don't think this is who was it who said it earlier? Miguel said earlier the current Spider Office bias. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think this is like Nick Lowe coming down from on high or the Shogun saying like, oh, make Saint Gwen the love interest in Peter's idyllic fantasy. I honestly think it was an executive decision on Weisman's part. It's just easy, like, oh, look, my dead girlfriend. I'm happy with her.
And
it's not that hard to connect the dots.
Her dead father who died because I was Spider-Man. Again, like both of those deaths are direct results of his time as Spider-Man. And so, of course, he would, in an idyllic world, have those two characters
and toss away Spider-Man because he explicitly says like, "Oh, Spider-Man was a pain in my ass when I was being Spider-Man."
It's
and
also,
even after all these years,
it's also kind of like a what if on the cartoon a little bit because they had such a
Now
he had such good relationships with both Gwen and Captain Stacy in that show that it's like, oh well,
Well, that's why I kind of made the point of like Weisman has the writing for Peter in mind of Josh Keaton. I think he's still got that spec stuff in the back of his head, not to project on him. But I think in that same vein, he's probably got some gas in the tank left to write some Gwen dialogue or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things when you're because like unfortunately Ashley hasn't watched the cartoon, which you really should watch the cartoon. It's really good. And I'm not just saying that because friend of the show, Greg Weisman, but
good book.
It's
a good show. Sorry.
It's a good show. So you're also trying to attract his audience to this book too, and I think that that people are maybe not necessarily that are comic book fans. So I think bringing in those familiar characters in this initial arc makes sense. But I do agree with you. The cutting is extremely jarring. It's extremely discombobulating, and maybe that's done on purpose because obviously we see if you've seen the cover for the next issue, it's like the shattering of the glass.
Oh, look, they're like okay, so like it's very obvious like where they're going with this, and it's not, or at least it's not hard to predict.
Right,
I guess is the more charitable way to put it.
Okay, but if
so Zach is replying to Miguel, by the way, again.
Yeah, so replying to Miguel because he goes, if it was a real ideal world, Ben Parker should be alive and be the main focus in that fantasy world. It feels too staged. Okay, this is also 15 years afterwards. If he became Spider-Man for either a brief time, or he retired or whatever in that before the deaths.
Yeah, this definitely feels like the deaths didn't. This is like, oh, he became Spider-Man. The deaths didn't happen. Miles became Spider-Man, and he is like, okay, Miles, you can be Spider-Man, and I'm retiring. That's what.
Or even you could even say that he Spider-Man no more. He stops being Spider-Man issue 50, and then never went back.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, obviously, we don't know, but my reading into that is either that maybe Ben died of natural causes. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that Steve Ditko made Ben and Aunt May look like they were 95, looked like they were on death's door. Like a stiff breeze would have blown them over and they would have keeled. Peter,
my leg.
I mean, yes, he got lead poisoning, but that he could have gotten mugged and got lead poisoning. We don't know. So like, trying to say, oh, listen, I get it, because there's crossover with other shows that have a hard boner against the editorial staff, and we have commented on that across these shows for a long time. I don't think editorial, because honestly, the reason I don't think editorial was involved is because if an editor was involved, I think an editor should have had the wherewithal to say, listen, we need to rejigger some of these pages. We need to put scenes in different spots. We need to make this a little more cohesive. That's like what Ashley and Neil are saying are actually true. That's on the editor, not just the writer. So I kind of think that Nick kind of just he's very laissez-faire. He kind of lets the writers write, and you
gotta rein it in though at some point.
To that point, I think that's been the main issue with
Nick Lowe.
With Lowe's edit. I don't like harping on like low bad, but I think the consistent through line on his editorial style is that he wants to be everyone's friend at the office and no one's boss. And at least that's the vibe I get, and that unfortunately that comes with not telling anybody no, if that makes sense.
I mean, we talked about it even with Spencer. Like at certain point, Spencer should have said to Spencer, "Listen, we got to start getting this. We got to start moving along with this." Or somebody telling Slott, "Hey, we're pulling this pendulum so far back that it's not a recognizable version of the character. We gotta pivot." There's certain, with every single one of these writers that he has been the editorial person, and he's been in charge of Spidey editorials since
2014, I think.
Yeah, 2014. So I mean, it's been a decade of his tenure. I think he's edited now more issues of Spider-Man than anybody. So it's going. I just feel like that's one of the reasons that some of other members of the network have said they're just ready for a new voice in that office and somebody else being in charge. So,
okay. So there, like I said, there are some pages where even putting aside like how the pages are sequenced, I think there's honestly a lot of fat you could trim. Like I think that unfortunately there's parts of the book where we could just like, they're all splash pages, like the splash page of Peter and Miles swinging into the sewer, or swinging before they get into the sewers. Like these giant sections of the page where it's just like two characters and doing a pose. I feel like there's, I don't want to say you could chop this in half and still have a readable comic, but like the page where it cuts to all the people we've been following from the first issue and seeing their fantasies fulfilled, we probably could have compressed that to like a page half its size, like where each character, like okay, so I'm visualize with me here, people. Like all the top three panels are like a Tom King 9-panel grid, and like each of these three panels on the side is like, what does it feel like to like the one where the guy his neck is broken and the guy is asking like, what does it feel like to finally achieve your ego, and or are you happy, Juliet, or like all the money's coming in. And I think them all saying like it's a dream come true would have sold the idea that something's really wrong with these people, or they're trapped in like an idyllic hellscape.
Right.
And then cut to like Mentallo and Arcade like standing in their weird dark room together. I got a name for it, but I'm not going to call it that on air.
The NSA room.
No,
the CCTV.
No, I'm going to type it in the private chat.
The GOON cave. Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
the go on cave.
It's the freaking Bat Cave.
I mean, it's like the Dark Knight Rises.
No, it's like goons. It's the freaking Bat from Arkham Knight.
Oh no!
It's the freaking Bat.
Unalive him.
Yeah, get that YouTube algorithm to like us. Let's go.
I do like the 2 Spidey splash page though.
I'm mostly just thinking in an economic sense.
Sure.
And I recognize that that's not like realistic, but on that same capacity, I am a very economic thinker when it comes to page space. So that might be my bias.
You are looking at it from a standpoint of an artist. You get the script, so
I do think I will say like to praise Ramos's art, I gotta say like I like that not a lot of the people look the same. Like a lot of the women, a lot of the men, they all kind of have different faces.
Yeah.
Which is impressive for, a monthly comic book where, deadlines, etc., and people's styles they tend to draw women and men fairly similar with like little tweaks. But I would say that Ramos, like a lot of the characters, like Kamala doesn't look like Gwen, and Gwen doesn't really look like Carly as much, and Peter doesn't look like whoever.
I do like.
And
I did like. So of the
all the supporting cast members have their own facial structures and everything.
Yeah, agreed.
Good.
Which has not always been the case with Ramos, so we gotta point that out. Because Ramos has been doing it for so long. So the scenes with the kids, I loved it. As a dad, I literally was with my kid today. We were talking about Legos and she's got her little area that she plays in, and trying to clean up after her and stepping on a Lego is like Peter is extremely relatable here. And that which makes the characterization work for me.
Did you do the Tom from Tom and Jerry scream? Ah!
No, I didn't. But
disappointing.
But look, again, I am an MJ Peter fan, but I liked the scene. I like the scene where Gwen's got the glasses because she looks like she does in Spectacular. Those little Easter eggs and references, I think, are not going to be noticed by a normie comic book person, but they'll be noticed by a fan of Greg.
Hi.
Because in Spectacular, she has glasses for the first season, and then
Exiles is right. You can tell it's a fake world because neither of the kids are named Ben or May. True, accurate.
Yeah, it's Benny and
Helen,
which is Ben Parker, and Helen, which is Gwen's mom.
Peter, stop naming your kids after dead people. Jesus Christ.
I mean, he could have named him Richard.
Didn't we do that once already?
And then call him. Never mind.
Oh wait, am I thinking of the kid from House of M?
Yes.
Good night, Ryan.
Good night,
Ryan.
Arivol says it's annoying to see some people online point this issue and say that Weisman doesn't like Peter MJ when he's said before that he views MJ as great love and confirmed he would have married them.
Yeah,
that's true.
And it was because again, the trauma of losing Gwen and then
and you're the one who killed her.
Yeah, like that guilt is such a foundational piece of Peter. Like, he's just riddled with it. And when he allows himself to move forward and lets go a little bit of that guilt, then he has enough room to be with MJ. Like, MJ is his ideal partner because of their shared experiences together. I don't think they would have, like, if Gwen had lived and they got married, even if she knew Peter was Spider-Man, I don't think Gwen and Peter would have stayed together. Mainly because she's a Silver Age girlfriend and she's written like a schizophrenic. But come on. If you read the Silver Age, most of the girlfriends are written like they're just...
No, I know.
Heather Glenn.
Characters in general.
Stan.
Oh, okay. So Benny is Weisman's son's name. Invisible Hand, Benny's a reporter that Jameson yells at.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay. Deep. Oh, I'm not sure. Is it a deep cut or a personal cut?
Both.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that lore. Thank you, Arivol, for the
thank you.
for the knowledge.
Yeah. Weisman. Bishansky would have given us that type of intel, but you know. So I get some people's qualms on the surface about these issues. I agree with you on Miles and Kamala. It is really strange.
Also, Miles has a girlfriend, and it's really weird that like they're playing it as like, oh, look at Miles. He's such a swinger. He's such a what a wacky dude. Am I right?
Footloose and fancy free. Sorry, that's like a 70s reference. I'm 90 right now.
Oh, tomato.
That's fair. Throw the tomatoes at me.
Hang on, Zach. You've got the balloons and you've got the hearts when you make symbols on your computer. Do you have tomatoes from people?
No, they haven't. You know, there will probably be some updates next week. So because they're going to do the WWDC, so they'll talk about the new software. So who knows? We might get some tomatoes.
Father's thoughts. I hesitate to say like, oh, they're written correctly, but I think that people who are jumping at the bit to say like, oh, Peter Gwen means Niccolo and the Shogun are getting their hands in the sauce. It's like, no. Listen, I will never get over the fact that that I almost called him Akira Yoshida, that C.V. Cebulski took on it was such a weed and took on it.
Thanks, Venkman.
Yo,
Venkman throwing all the tomatoes at me for the audio listeners.
Thank you.
I just think it's funny that like he made a Japanese persona to make comics, and then he got made editor-in-chief somehow.
Well, I mean, considering the options we had to replace Alonzo.
The chicks were written correctly in the silver. What the fuck? I'm not going to get into that.
Buddy, we're going to agree to disagree on that, my friend, because I think I think when you read like characters
Gwen was a special kind of schizo.
Like she would go from
Peter, I'm going to kill you to Peter, take me now.
Yeah, like it was like between pages where she was like always crying and woe is me. Why doesn't Peter notice me?
I found this Nazi to throw my support behind.
Oh.
Low blow, but correct.
Look, it was an allegory for Nixon, okay? And he was a crook. The character that, yeah. Anyway, again, don't be. I'm not scared.
Are you Benoit Blanc? Are you gonna give me Twainisms?
That's not okay. That's not how women act. Okay.
He been helping.
I was gonna say maybe tread lightly here. Maybe she was like that time of the month.
Stab somebody.
Maybe it was that time of the month, and you know that could be the hormone changes.
Oh, Chris is asking how many kids Peter have in how many universes. Not as many as Cyclops.
For more, see Books of X here on the Spideydude Radio Network.
That's like asking how many kids does Spider-Man have? Fewer than Wolverine in the main universe.
Let's see. We've got Mayday and Benji.
Yeah.
We've got
Abrams boy.
Abrams
yeah.
boy.
3.
We've got
Richard from House of M.
Richard from House of M. And didn't he have a daughter too? They had 2
No,
kids.
I think it was just the son.
Oh. Then we have 2 kids here.
We've got the new Richard and May. Yeah.
May.
Oh yeah. And then we got Annie Mae.
Ultimate. We've
Yeah.
got Annie Mae.
you got the Maybell from Charles Soule's Civil War and Secret Wars.
Yep.
You've got the Earth X May.
Yep, there we go.
Earth X May, and didn't she have a brother there too?
I don't think so. But then there was like that other part of Earth X where there was that fantasy or whatever
Where
it
Peter
was
was
where
with
he
Gwen and had a
Gwen
son.
he-
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's 10.
10.
We got nearly a dozen kids amongst the
hang
alt
on.
universes.
There's another one.
Amidst the alt universes, maybe. Across the Spider-Verse of children.
Yeah.
Across the Spider Babies.
Yeah, I mean Gabriel and Sarah. You said Jill, Avi, but it was Gabriel and Jill and
Sarah, yeah.
Sarah.
Now they're just test tube babies. Haha.
Now they're just demons from hell. They're not even children. They're just constructs.
They're just little that bit where Norman goes, so I didn't bang Gwen in Spencer's run, and Harry's like, no, I made you imagine it. It was Mysterio all along.
It was Mysterio all along.
I was doing a Dio from JoJo reference instead, but sure, do your WandaVision bit.
I mean, yeah, that's what popped it. I'm keeping it Marvel related, sir.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I gave a thumbs up to the screen, and that's what Neil was referencing, audio listeners. Okay. I don't disagree about some of the line work here. Who was did Ramos or ink his?
It's
stuff
Olazaba it's Olazaba always does Ramos's line inks.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, there's a lot, like you say, there's a lot of splash pages.
He loves his cross hatching, by the way. Holy shit.
Yeah, he does. Also, I know you referenced it in the recap, but it's a little weird that George and May are dating. Like, that's a no. like that's your father-in-law dating your mom, your surrogate mother.
Your aunt. How many cousins is that for it to count?
I think, well, it depends on the state. I know you can't marry your
Let's
first
not.
cousin.
Let's not.
Hang on,
Let's not.
do we want to Google this real quick?
I was gonna say
Yeah,
before
well-
you start deep diving and
I mean, it's technically a moot point because they're not actually related. So
just
your
by
father-in-law-
marriage.
Can you?
Yeah, it's just
can
an
your father-in-law
odd
date your
pairing.
aunt?
Avi is clearly a Greg Weisman stan, because he wishes it was Dr. Bromwell with May, like Spectacular Spider-Man. Apparently, the artist for
The
Spider-Man
artist-
Bloodhunt is on.
Or
radio.
Marcelo Ferreira. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Aunt May is Peter's aunt by marriage, right?
Yes,
So
unless you believe Trouble, which
we don't.
we don't.
Actually, do you know what trouble is?
No.
Good. Okay.
Trouble was a
No, I
Live
just
action
said
miniseries.
good. That means don't say anything.
Adam could tell me if does he know or he said no.
you don't want to know.
Thank
That's
you,
for later.
Adam. Thank you,
Oh.
Adam.
Hey, Avi. Thank you. He specs his favorite adaptation, and he listened to Spec Radio as it came out. So thanks for being a longtime fan. 10 years since we started that show.
I'm not gonna. Okay, I went down a rabbit hole asking that question on Google. I'm not
That's what I said. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Meanwhile, so Trouble was a 5-issue mini.
No.
Oh no.
Okay, me
No,
not
we're
being
not
able
talking
to,
about-
me not wanting to say something doesn't mean you have the right to say something worse.
This will be in a group call on the Discord.
This will
at
be
a
like
later date.
this will be a kiki that we might need to put on Patreon. Hate it here. Okay. Why'd you put that in the Jesus Christ, Zach? Ashley, don't go in the private chat.
I
How do I get out of it?
I was just trying to explain it to Ashley because she legitimately doesn't know.
And it's better that she doesn't. Have you ever heard of Pandora's box?
Scuba diving in quicksand is more
Thank you,
enjoyable than
Bankman.
trying to read Trouble.
That's a good analogy. You should listen to him. 'Cause
Okay.
If you're not going to listen to me, listen to one of the patrons at least.
Yeah. Speaking of Patreon, if you haven't joined up for free, we're trying to get to 50 subscribers, so that way I can paint my head and face and glitter my beard
It'll be really funny,
To
I
be
promise.
Be jackpot.
and yell that I love Jackpot really loud.
Where is Walter?
Are you going to do it in public or are you going to do it recorded?
I figure it's a punishment, so I'll have to do the entire episode as that.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is like, are you going to record it outside?
Oh, like, yeah, I could do that. That's fine.
Okay, we're sweetening the pot for good old Walter.
I'll set up the camera and
And the T-Mobile people.
no, I'll just record it on my camera and then we'll upload it and have it as a clip on the show. So, for posterity's sake. So.
Okay.
So he's excited for the August Avi, not Arad. Is excited for the August issue because it looks like Weisman's getting back to street level stuff with Black Cat, Martin Lee, Fisk, Silvermane, Hammerhead, etc. Probably going to write it better than Zeb Wells, but we'll see.
I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of apprehensive about it. Not because of the writing. Oh, bye, Ashley.
Ashley just noped out.
Vanished. She just like booped.
Whoop! She blipped. Okay, I'll see.
Anyways, oh, I think bye, Zach. Oh, there he is. Okay, where was I going with that? Anyway, I need to remove this thing because it's getting in the way.
This thing.
Yeah.
I don't have high. Sorry, Ashley, I accidentally removed you because Zach was trying to add you in the same time. I don't know. I think. Oh, Avi joined the Patreon for free, Zach.
Woohoo!
Your time is coming.
We got 10.
Welcome.
We got 10 more. We're trying to get 10 more subs. And if you want exclusive content, we'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
We already did. I'm just saying we did.
I was going to point out some specific stuff, sir.
Okay. Anyways, I don't know if I've got it in me for another arc. I'm kind of committed to the end of this one since we know when it ends as far as the trade, because we have the trade coming out in August, I think.
Yes.
But I don't know if the pacing's anything like if the pacing in that arc is anything like this one. I don't know. I might be out. Sorry.
Well, we'll have Bishansky and me and Adam if he's up for it. We'll see if Ashley.
We'll see. Well, because probably because this series is. I feel like the second arc might be it.
We'll
Just
see.
based on the limited info we get from the sales charts.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in like the top 20 or anything. So.
Well, I think it's in the top 20, but
is
it's
it? Okay.
It's on like the bottom end of that, and that was like issue 2. So
Well, so this was the other cover.
Is that who is that? Who does that? Is that Dyke Ruin or?
I think so.
no.
And then they had this one.
I think it's Segovia. I think that's that one was Segovia.
Yeah. And then this is the other one, which are more static poses. That one looks like it should be a poster, honestly.
I think that's Derek Chu. I think is the guy who did this one.
This one?
No, that's Segovia.
Oh, that one?
That one I think is Lee Garbett.
Yeah, which is done with the like the old school horror.
The Marvel Comics group trade dress from ye olden days.
Yeah.
Kind of like Marvel Team Up. Looks very similar to Marvel Team Up.
Yeah, because it's got the two characters.
Yeah, on either side of the logo.
Which, yeah, I think that was what they would do. I think around the 70s, maybe.
Yeah, man. No, I was trying to do a Cheech and Chong reference, and like Neil just like
Neil's face just says everything
Podcast
that
is
my
just-
brain is thinking.
This podcast is just Zach's vehicle to do all of his impressions.
This is where he tests his stand-up routine before
Yes.
he
His
goes
new
to Mike Night.
material.
listen. You're not wrong.
Don't say it. It's funnier if it's implied.
Well, you know. When have I ever not just burst through that wall like the Kool-Aid Man?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
My dad's gonna be so mad at me.
Is that a Family Guy bit?
Oh, that's a Dane Cook reference. But yes, there's also the Family Guy cutaway that pretty infamous. Listen,
Sorry,
Some of-
listeners.
some of Dane Cook's stuff was not bad. Said some of it. Especially when you're in high school. You have, underdeveloped brain. Anyway,
the stuff that he stole
Stop
from other
self-reporting.
comedians wasn't bad.
Stop self-reporting, Zach. Jesus Christ. Holy shit, Adam.
damn, Adam. Oh,
How long you been
Alright.
holding that in for?
I don't even know the jokes that he stole. I'm just trying to,
So if you are in the
That
comments,
just felt like
section-
that felt like a valid retort.
if you're in the comments section, if you want to leave like a super chat, do that. As we get to towards the end of this episode, hopefully Walter's not going to come in and be like,
Here's
Stack of money.
$1,000.
$500.
Yeah, here's 500. Put the wig on right now.
I haven't ordered the wig yet. The money hasn't hit my account.
Yeah, I know.
Screw you, Neil.
Zach's got the comedic delivery of Rob Schneider. The Rob Meister. Why can't you ding dong?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what
Listen,
a
Zach, if you actually go to open mic night and just like go up there, I'm gonna be kind of impressed.
But then he'd get them all out and then he wouldn't have anything to test on here for everybody listening.
Well, that's
I
true.
mean, half my routine would be ex-wife jokes.
My
Which
wife,
one?
Borat.
Both. I know what my
Moving
closing
on.
bit. Yeah, the both would be referenced. One significantly more than the other.
My
'Cause-
wife.
I don't know. Maybe you should. I think it'd be great.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley, for being supportive. Unlike
Next
Neil.
time, next time,
Neil's going to be in the back heckling, "You suck!"
get better material.
He's gonna be running around to different tables and changing his voice.
Oh, this guy stinks! Like from SpongeBob.
I'm gonna play like a crying baby noise.
Boo, tomato, tomato, where's it at? Tomato, tomato, tomato. All right. Final thoughts.
Before we wrap up, I think we should all say happy Spider-Man Day once again, because apparently June 5th, 1962 was when Amazing Fantasy 15 came out on the newsstands. That's the big talk of the day, and we happen to be recording, so
Yeah.
happy like variant of Spider-Man Day, because they always do one like on August 1st and whenever the hell.
Yeah.
But I guess this is the actual day, because this is actually what is on Mike's Amazing World. It's got the copyright
Wayne's World.
Copyright date and everything. So.
Because I think the cover says August.
Well, yeah, that's because a lot of periodicals, they do the cover date is 2 months in advance at least, and that's when it's like, okay, take it off, have it on sale until August essentially. Yeah.
So
but then like with comics, it's like you get to the 70s and it's like 3 or 4 months. Into the 80s, it's also 3 or 4 months. But I think since like the 90s, it's been 2 months. So
yeah. So R.I.P. Mike's Amazing World. He had a really great resource. Hate that he passed away, but they're keeping it alive per his wishes. So
they should. It's a good resource.
It's a great resource.
Oh, Venkman also points out that June 5th is the anniversary of the Shea Stadium wedding in 1987. Which I think is the 25th anniversary of Spider-Man's.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's all poetry. It all rhymes.
I was in utero.
Wait, is it 27
at that point?
No, it'd be 25 because it's 1962, right?
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
be gearing up to be born here.
I'm thinking about the present.
No, I wasn't quite in utero. I think I might have been conceived around this time.
Well, I would be born in like 2.5 weeks in 87 from now.
I was supposed to. I was supposed to
know, because we all have ADHD apparently.
I was supposed to be born in March of 88. I was born.
Did your voice just crack? What the fuck?
I had a burp. I am not going through again.
Oh, I didn't think that was a bit at first.
That was a bit. Hi there.
A bit
All
too
right.
much.
Moving on.
A bit too far.
Well, I mean, if anybody got any final thoughts, throw it in the chat. Ashley just noped out again. Bye, Ashley. So,
happy Ultimates Day.
Yeah, Ultimates #1 came out today, so if you've not already picked that up. Also, Amazing Spider-Man 51 came out today, but we will not talk about that until
issue 52 comes out.
Issue 52 comes out, so we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. Welcome back, Ashley.
I keep hitting this button and it just X's me out.
The T-Mobile intern's coming for you next.
That was my final thought.
So
just leaving.
The week of the 19th, we will be talking about ASM and then Ultimate probably the following week, and then or we may wait and do because
another spec.
Yeah,
there's like 2 Ultimate issues coming out within a 2-week period, so we could double up on that maybe.
Yeah. So we might end up doing that and do 2. So let us know in the comment section down below. Oh, hey, we got a super chat. Do you think going back to Gwen will handicap this book from an interest level? Aside from pacing, I think that premise turns some off. I think it was well done.
A little bit, but
I think
it's not a forever thing. So
so the only people who really care about this are like terminally online Twitter people.
Yeah,
that's who cares the most. And ultimately, because Twitter readers don't buy the comic, I don't think that's gonna really matter.
And I think when we read next issue and we see it all fall apart, I think it'll make.
Oh yeah, and can people stop, harassing Nick Lowe and on Twitter because it's just inappropriate and rude and shit? Like, come on.
You're asking the wrong audience.
Listen, like what you like and don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's how you should live your life. Because, look, not everybody's going to like what you do. You're not going to bat 1,000 all the time. I mean, even supposed friend of the show, according to Chris, Dan Slott, says not every one of them was a winner. Because I mean, hell, you're just not. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. Apparently, Vinkman says he gives this tonight's episode 5 Taylor Swifts.
What does that mean?
Thanks, I hate it.
Okay, cool.
He gives it 5 stars, but it's a reference to the Taylor Swift thing. You know, there was some. I do want to correct something that was in the chat earlier that I wanted to throw up there because
shit, we forgot the Ultimate Kids on the alternate theaters.
Yeah.
No,
so 12.
Adam said them.
Oh, he did. Okay, my bad. Sorry.
That was part of the 10, I believe.
Okay.
The initial 10. There's at least 10 kids that he's had in various universes.
Wolverine Wonders in amateur.
So Father's thoughts. He says the only way to save the character of Peter Parker Spider-Man is if Todd McFarlane gets the publishing rights. I believe this will happen in the next 2 years, guaranteed. Disney will sell the publishing rights, guaranteed. No, because the publishing rights are the IP farm. I mean, we can get super cynical about this for a second, but you don't have characters like Kamala Khan and having a Disney Plus show. Like it's the farm, man. Like
when I said that Disney, when I said earlier that Marvel and DC and Image are like self-cannibalizing all their supporting cast to make new heroes, like that. I don't think even if you say like Disney's creatively bankrupt, Marvel is gone. Marvel's not going to let go of that thing until it's stripped for parts. Yeah, they just aren't. They're not going to let it go.
I mean, look, I was thinking about this the other day. Literally,
Disney literally has FU money. They can do whatever they want.
To me, if in an ideal world, I would love to see a Spider-Man series done on Disney Plus or on ABC, a Spider-Girl series. I think it would be a really easy show to do. Live action would be fun, but do animated because it's a pre-built world and you can make just a few tweaks and it's contemporary. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, but I just don't, as long as it's making money and Marvel itself is a pillar of Disney, they're not going to get rid of the publishing rights to somebody like Todd, who, now that they're doing the statues and stuff, they have a relationship now, which is interesting, but I just don't see the amount of money to buy the publishing rights from Disney would be astronomical. It would be billions of dollars.
I mean, IDW had a chunk of the rights, and they still didn't have full control.
Avi, I'm going to say this because a lot of people keep talking about this. It says maybe you'll get that Disney Plus show with Spider-Man 98 when, not if that happens. Everybody keeps forgetting about the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, because they advertised it like a couple times, and then people were like, "Oh,
they didn't advertise it. They showed it at Comic-Con once, and then they kind of expected us to follow up."
There was no follow up, and then people were like, "Oh," because then there was stuff like, "Oh, I don't remember if it's still getting 2 seasons or not." There was that whole thing, and
they have
then the name change, and and then. But then people have asked the guy, and it's like, "Oh, it's still happening," and that was like a year ago, and it's apparently dropping later this year.
So they're gonna put out what they've already done. Yeah. The time it's gonna take to develop a Spider-Man 98 is gonna be at least 2 or 3 years.
I want people to think about this real quick. How long did it take for X-Men 97 to be announced, and how long did it take for it to come out?
I think 3.5 years.
Yeah, it was announced.
Now, granted, part of that was also pandemic, to be fair.
But my point broadly is that people are demanding Spider-Man 98, and by the time it actually comes out, people are going to forget they asked for it, and they're going to go like, "Oh, what are you getting this revival for?"
And I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily want that. Like, I get that it ends on a open ending with MJ.
I mean, that's fine. You really
we got
need
a
to
resolution in
follow
X-Men
that.
97.
Yeah,
We did.
I don't know.
Um,
I just feel like you don't really need to like he found her. Like, yeah, there. I mean, isn't that what everyone thinks already? Like, oh, he's gonna find her.
Well,
Like, the show ended. It's like, oh, he's gonna find her. Like, come on.
that was the whole point. Was had they got the renewal for another
Right,
season,
they
that would have
done
picked it up.
yeah.
But like the whole point of that ending was, oh, he's off. Him and Madam Web are off to go get Mary Jane,
Yeah.
and so it happens in your imagination.
Cuts
You
back
know.
to the present. Oh, that was really fun. We fought Carnage, Jack the Ripper. Anyways, what's this new thing?
Well,
And
and,
I
that was only because he people. And here's my other thing about that too. Now everybody's going to expect to see that Jack the Ripper Carnage arc because that general idea, and it kind of writes you in a corner as a creative person because now you're going to be expected to deliver that. And he wrote a kind of a script when he was trying to do a Kickstarter.
Like a treatment, right?
Yeah, he did like a scriptment, half script, half treatment, and as like a what was it? They did a Kickstarter for an animated show that was going to use a lot of the same cast.
And he
Yeah.
tossed that in as like a little.
That was like an
stretch goal, I
incentive.
think.
It was like a stretch goal, and then the backers ended up getting that. I don't know what ever happened with that project.
Here's the down and dirty. X-Men 97 was really good, but it's good contextually. It's good in a timeless sense, but it's also very timely and relevant to us.
Right.
Even like Bo DeMaio, and I think that X-Men 97's quality is going to suffer because DeMaio is no longer on the team after season 2. They're keeping to his vision for season 2, but season 3 I don't think it'll be the same show. And X-Men 97 was so good because Bo DeMaio made it deliberately relevant to like the Tulsa massacre, or it was Black Wall Street bombing, 9/11, Pulse nightclub. That's why like the Gambit episode rings so heavily, and like why all these characters feel so lived in, because they're timely. And I think that because Disney is now aware of how runaway of a success X-Men 97 is, they're gonna try and step in if they were to do a Spider-Man series and like impose their corporate vision on what is essentially their Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And
Marvel's Mickey Mouse is Spider-Man, like it or not.
And I don't think they'd be willing to get away. I don't think Spider-Man 98 in his hypothetical would be able to get away with what X-Men 97 did. X-Men 97 showed genocide.
Yeah.
Like there's no that's part of why it hits so hard, because we have an expectation of what happened in the 90s cartoon, and it just ran wild after that.
Well, and even if you don't show genocide, I mean, considering the amount of standards and practices that they had to endure with the 94 series, just even though it was 2 years removed from X-Men didn't have nearly the amount of restrictions that Spider-Man did. And so, again, I don't want to pull the team from X-Men 98 to go do Spider-Man, or X-Men 97 to go do Spider-Man 98. Like, unless you bring somebody in, and I'm not saying bring in Greg, but I'm saying bring in somebody like Greg that's really respectful. And so,
Eric says that Unlimited was supposed to be like a continuation. Okay, this is complicated because it uses the same musical cue, like they use the animated series theme in the first episode, but I think it's meant to be sort of just a loose continuation, not necessarily a hard in the same universe.
Well,
it's hard to.
The part of the issue with that too was their deal with Saban was predicated on they can continue doing the daily 90s show on Fox Kids, but they had to have something in develop. It was kind of like a similar situation with like the movies. They had to have something in development, so they rushed out Unlimited, which is why, I mean, even Dan Slott thought that the Unlimited universe was the Semper universe. John Semper being the showrunner.
But my point broadly here is that looking at X-Men 97, do not expect a show that is just X-Men 97 but a Spider-Man skin. Like I said, Spider-Man is Disney's X-Men, is Disney's Mickey Mouse for the Marvel arm.
And
by virtue of that, there's so much that they can't get away with doing Spider-Man.
And I'll be honest, I'm curious. I don't know what stories you can do on a Spider, because here's the thing: outside of, you had Evolution and you had Wolverine and the X-Men, but other than those two adaptations, you had no other adaptations. With Spider-Man, you've had Spider-Man Unlimited, new animated series, Spectacular Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man, now
And
Friendly Neighborhood.
The one for 4-year-olds.
Yeah, Spider-Man is Amazing Friends.
I mean, those are a lot of the. I feel like a lot of what I know and seen of the adaptations since have. I mean, the best one is Spec, but the other ones are kind of like just doing their own thing for the most part. I know the 2017 one did Superior, but that's, I don't know, like.
And here's a good question for you guys. X-Men 97 has what, 30 years of, or not, about 30 years worth of new stories to adapt. They've got Morrison, they've got Astonishing, they've got Fraction, they've got the Utopia stuff. What does Spider-Man have from the 2000s you want to adapt? You want to adapt to Moreland? You want to adapt to One More Day? Brand New Day?
The Coming Home, sure.
Right, but that's one story.
Yeah. The thing is what you do.
I mean, you could adapt some of the Paul Jenkins stuff.
The Crawl Space has a good article just basically saying, well, you could actually do a full Clone Saga adaptation instead of just, and you can actually do like a Hobgoblin mystery, like an actual thing. You can, go with that. I don't know.
There are certain stories that if you look hard enough, you can adapt.
You could do it. You could bring the black suit back. You could do, Venom and Carnage stuff. You can do
But also, Tubular Tommy
there is stuff you can do.
Said the Spider-Man Limited aesthetic is effing awesome. If you watch the Incredible Hulk on Disney Plus, it's very similar, especially the first season. Give it a couple years before Marvel starts looking at an adaptation of Ultimate Spider-Man 2024 because of how successful it is. People will forget about 98 in a heartbeat if it happens. To be fair, he has a hypothetical of 98 would be like 97 and adapt DeMatteis and JMS stuff, since 97 drew from stuff done after the night. I mean, you could do the whole Harry arc. I mean, you could do there's some things you can do, some 80s stuff too. But he doesn't think the Jack Ripper stuff will be used. So it's an interesting thought experiment, but we've kind of derailed, which fine. That's kind of the nature of the show.
To be fair, we got super chats, so we kind of had to.
Yeah, we had to address the super chats. So thank you guys for the super chats. We do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get out of here, we always got to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. The sensational tier is Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Jurgen, Joyce, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master Drama, Phoenician, RJ, Vanessa, and Vicky. Thank you guys for your support as sensational tier patrons. We have our spectacular patrons. We got Sarah, Tara, and Walter, as well as our VIPs, Scott and Venkman. Thank you guys for your support. If you have not,
I got to update the graphic.
Yeah, we got to fix that. If you have not checked out on Patreon the Books of X podcast, it is us talking about the Krakoan era of X-Men, and the latest episode is out now. We also have our commentaries of the MTV series. So if you have not checked that out, do so. You want to check out the origins of Spectacular Spider-Man with Greg Weisman, be sure to check out our interview with him. And then programming with Voices from the Eyrie. They're going to be doing a live show at Convergence up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the weekend of July 4th. So they'll be doing that episode. They'll be doing a live episode. If you can't make it to Convergence, we're going to try to get it streamed here on the channel. So stay tuned for that. A new episode of Amazing Spider-Man Classics is out. So check that out over on Spideydude.com, as well as the latest episode of the Sabu Cinema Era podcast, where we talk, where they're talking about the Child Within. So check that out. And of course, we've got some more stuff cooking. And the audio editions will be coming out very soon. If you have not found us on our social medias, go find us over at Twitter, at Spideydude Radio, at Spideydude Network on Facebook. If you have not already subscribed as an audio listener, go find us on YouTube, Spideydude Radio Network. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to have your voice on the show, 818-925-6631, or shoot me an email at SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. If you're watching us live, if you're listening to us after the fact, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. We'll see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network.